Greetings, everybody. This is Sri Srinivasa from Itsdiff Academy. It's a beautiful time to meet our great Dr. Madison Ngafeeson here, whom I met in Harvard Business Analytics program. In Harvard Business Analytics program at the Harvard Business School, it was a fantastic time where all of us were being brought together to learn the intricacies of business analytics, digital transformation, and how the artificial intelligence and machine language and everything play and being the trend. So while that brought us together to do a beautiful networking with people across the world with great experience, and I had the great pleasure and honor to interact with Madison, also known as, with the due respect, Dr. Madison Ngafeeson, who has got 25 years of leadership experience, is a business professor and leadership coach and public speaker who has got he is running and heading Lead Missions International to train leaders across the globe. The interesting point is I am an immigrant from India and he is an immigrant from Africa, from Cameroon, who is super passionate. We have common things there, which is we are all excited about leadership, coaching, mentoring. So that's another reason why we are here. But most importantly, we are here for one good reason, which is the day before tomorrow. So we extend a very warm welcome to have Dr. Madison Ngafeeson join us for Itsdiff Academy to take us on a journey about the book, the reasons, what was his objective, and some interesting things that he has brought from his life journey here. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Sri. It's a blessing to be with you here, and I'm just so happy for us to interact today. So, thank you so much for having me on this program, and thank you.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. It's a pleasure. Thanks for giving the time. So, interestingly, when I grew up, I learned something about yesterday is a debt, today is a cash, tomorrow is a promissory note. That's how kind of I learned. So they always say today is a cash. So that's always cash, in this economy and things like that. And you have said it very wisely in this book about, hey, today matters a lot. You live your life the fullest. I would like to hear more about it, about today. What got you the idea about this book? Let's start from there.
Let me say a little bit of my background because it would give a proper context to what we are discussing today. I was raised in Cameroon, in the grasslands of Cameroon in Central Africa. I grew up with my grandmother and my granddad in a village. I used to walk about 6 miles to school barefooted and back. I grew up within a very village rural context. I grew up taking care of my father's goats in my grandfather's goats in the hillside. And years afterwards, I would leave the village when I was about 8 and live with my auntie in what we called a town then. And so a couple of years when I was about high school, I came back to my little village and I wanted to know where all of my friends were, the people I went to school with, the people I had a great time with. And I would ask one person after the other, and then they would say, no, that one passed away, that one died. And I asked quite a number of people, and I noticed that they died. To cut to the chase, what happened is that at that time in the late 80s and into the early 90s, HIV/AIDS came into our village. And since the young people were sleeping among one another, it almost wiped out that generation of young people in my little village. And so when I was thinking about it, I said to myself, wow, why is it that I survived? Why is it that for some reason I was taken out at that time and I lived somewhere else and coming back and just noticed that is what had happened to some of my friends? And I began to say, could it be that there is a reason why I'm alive today? Could it be that there is a message? Could it be that there is a purpose? Could it be that there is a reason why I will be in today? Meanwhile, all of my friends are in the yesterday. They are gone and nobody remembers them anymore. These are some of the things that provoke me to believe that life has a meaning. And when we are alive, if we are fortunate enough to live in today, there is a purpose, there is a reason, and we can do something about that. And so that's one of the motivations. So I write this book to also honor the legacy of some of those my friends who didn't live long enough to see today, and to say that there is a purpose for living in today, and I don't want just to exist, but to really live in today.
Fantastic, fantastic. So there is a little bit of a history behind, and they always say you cannot forget our history, how we have come, and it's all about traditional value, culture, and the sufferings that the others have done. There are a lot of people who have
Mhm.
sacrificed.
Mhm.
So I mean, we learn from that, so that they say sometimes history repeats. So we will
Yes.
be best prepared on how they reacted, what they didn't have, what they had, how did they use it, what is the strategy. Very nice. So in this context here, as you very rightly said in the book, like today is a gift, right? And
Mhm.
then how should it really, how one can optimize it. So let's just peel the onion, and please, could you please take do the honors for us on that.
Yeah, somebody put it this way. He said, yesterday is history, you know, tomorrow is a mystery, today is a gift. That is why we call it the present. So how could it not be a gift when it is the present? So today is a gift because if you and me use today very well, we can cancel a whole lot of yesterday that we don't want. If we use today very well, we can stretch a whole lot of yesterday that we desire in our lives. If we use today very well, we can create a whole new tomorrow for ourselves. But nobody living in yesterday and nobody living in tomorrow can do anything. Today is the critical intersection. Yesterday and tomorrow meet today. And no one can live in yesterday, no one can live in tomorrow. The only thing you can live in is today. So that's why I believe that today is a real gift. And when we recognize that this is a true gift, then we begin to use it in a way that we can transform even the past that is past and transform our future. Today is a rare gift. So the whole message of the book is, teaching us and bringing that concept, that philosophy that if today is a gift, then we have to use it the best way we can and create the life that we really desire for ourselves and for others. And
But that's a challenge, right? Because how can we stop thinking about what happened yesterday?
hmm,
So it sounds like an easy gig, but it's super challenging to do that. While we wanted to live today, but simply cannot forget about yesterday. So what are your advice from being a coach perspective?
so it's about perspective. Everything is about perspective. So when we talk about the day before tomorrow, which is actually today, we are saying that we have to put yesterday in perspective. Yesterday is the only day that we have lived to the full and completed it. Today is a day in progress. Tomorrow has not come yet. So all of what we know today is really about yesterday. So yesterday is not like we can discard it as though it never happened. Is we cannot underlook it. We just need to put it in perspective. So in my book, I argue that we should use yesterday as our education. Let yesterday, what yesterday brought to us, become an education for us. Let it be our teacher.
Mhm.
There are things we tried yesterday, it did not work. There are places that we faltered yesterday. There are places that we were ultra successful yesterday. But what are the lessons that we can learn from yesterday? And how do those lessons impact our today? And how can we, therefore, with those lessons of the past, with those lessons of yesterday, move into our future, the future that we desire for our lives? So it's about putting yesterday where it belongs. It's the past. It is yesterday, but we can learn lessons from yesterday. Yesterday can actually, if we leverage it very well, can be a great professor, can be a great teacher. It's just how do we leverage it? The problem is that about yesterday is that yesterday can also be very tyrannical. Yesterday can it has a power to hold you to stick to be there to hold you stuck in it, right? So we have to figure out a way to understand yesterday, leverage on the lessons of yesterday, but not get stuck in yesterday. And that's the problem. So yesterday is a good teacher, but it's not really a good master.
Fantastic. But in the book, you in one of the chapters, you talk about five types of people in the world. I really love that. So can you touch on that, please?
Yeah, so I was talking about five types of people in the world when it comes to looking at yesterday, they are or looking at the past. So there are people, number one, who have not learned from the past. So history keeps repeating itself in their lives. There are some things that they are supposed to have gotten out of now, but they haven't gotten out of. They are stuck in the past. So they keep repeating history. So, and second group of people are people who are trying to run away from the past. They are trying to live life as though the past never happened. So they're escapists. I call them escapists. So they find themselves running from the past. Instead of embracing the past for what it is and seeing what they can do with it, they are literally running from the past. Now, third, there are people who want to rewrite the past. The past is what it is. It could have been bad, it could have been good, but it is what it is. History is what it is. So we cannot rewrite history. We cannot go back and change. I cannot go back and change the village from which I was born. I was born in my little village. It will always remain that. I cannot go back and erase history and erase my past. I can only embrace my past and move forward. Number four, there are people who get stuck in yesterday, in the past. I call them nostalgics. They love the past. They revel in the past. They enjoy the past. But the past is past, but they have not gone past the past. And so my book encourages them to go past their past so that they can enter in today, so that they can have probably a shot at the future. But then there are the last group of people, the fifth group of people in the world, whom I call futurists. Now, these are people who have learned from the past and are ready to live their best day ever today.
Super. So okay, that's about yesterday, right? Now you also mentioned about tomorrow is today, right? Is that what you said, right?
No, I said, there's something I kind of play with words about that. I say, well, you see, tomorrow, one day, tomorrow will be the today that we talked about yesterday. So sometimes I try to encourage people because most of the time we try to push what we are supposed to do now for tomorrow. So we say something like, okay, I'm going to be a great person tomorrow. I'm going to become
Yeah.
somebody who does good someday. Someday I'm going to build a house. And someday I'm going to start. You see, we push things tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. So sometimes I come and tell people, well, you know what? Today is the tomorrow that you talked about yesterday. So start doing what you said you will do.
Got it. Got it. Because when you talk about about yesterday, I'm still thinking about yesterday here. Pardon me there. Um, it is very interesting. You said you lived the life the fullest because you are alive today. You are alive and kicking today. So you definitely would have lived the life the fullest. Okay, how wisely you would have spent it, you only know, right?
Yes.
So this is one a famous quote from one of the chapters on put a demand on today. You kind of mentioned, which is very interesting quote by Og Mandino, which I would like to quote here.
Yes.
If I waste today, I destroy the last page of my life. Therefore, each hour of this day will I cherish for it. can never return. Therefore, each hour of this day will I cherish, for it can never return. Beautiful.
Mm.
So today is the cash. Let's use it, kind of stuff.
Yes. 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 So Mandino is one of, I love his book, The Greatest Salesman in the World. That's where that quote is taken from. And it's just about the power of today. If I waste today, I destroy the last page of my life. Today is a gift we have to embrace. You see, if we keep living in yesterday, we will not have time to come into today, and certainly not even have time to prepare for tomorrow. So many people get stuck in yesterday. The book encourages us that today is a gift. That's why we must live it to the fullest. Why? Because there are people who wish they were here today, but they are not here. So, ask all of the people who have passed away. Go to the newspapers and see all of, the funeral announcements. These guys would have loved to be here, seated in, and maybe talking on this podcast together, like you and me are talking, but they don't have a chance. So when you think about that fact, you've got to look back and say, wow, who am I that I will have the opportunity to live in today? It's a great day. It is true that today has its own challenges, it has its own difficulties, but today is still a great day to be lived purposefully and to be lived to make impact, to add value in the lives of others and value in the lives of our community. We can do that. And that is what my book is really about.
Fantastic. In fact, I don't want to give away all the things in the book, but at least you mentioned the 5 truths about yesterday. I would wish, expect the listeners and fans to check it out. And the interesting thing is, okay, sounds very philosophical. Okay, fine. Let's be practical. Okay, fine. I'm game. Okay, doctor, you mentioned about living the life the fullest today, so that I will have a better tomorrow. Good. Tell me some practical tips about how do I go about it. Should I work with a coach? Should I get a mentor? What are the ABCD things? I know you have some tips there in the book, which is like a workbook. Okay, take a pencil and paper and go and do it. But I just wanted to hear it from you. Just give us the top 2 or 3 that one has to do to say, okay, I would like to optimize my today.
You see, what I found out is that when you want to live your best life today, one of the things you have to really fully embrace, which is a principle that I learned from one of my mentors who challenged me, who was the first person who really challenged me about living a full life today. And he said this, and I wondered the first time I heard him say so. He said, "Do you know the richest spot on the earth?" And my mind was wondering. I said, "Oh my God, which one is that now? Is it, is he talking about the diamond mines of South Africa now? Or is he talking about the oil fields of Iraq and Iran? Or is he talking about, the golden mines in South America? What is he really talking about?" And he said, no, because he said, when I was coming to this meeting tonight, I saw the richest spot on the earth, and it is down the road. And I wonder, what is he talking about? It says the richest spot on the earth is not far away from you. It's just down the road. It is the cemetery. And he said, because that is where all of the wonderful buildings and towers that were never constructed, that is where they lie. That is where all of the dreams that were never realized, that is where they lie. That is where all of the books that were never written, songs that were never sung, masterpieces that were never painted, that is where they lie. And he said, that is why the greatest challenge in your life is to live life to the full, so that when you die empty, emptied of the dreams that you could have dreamt, emptied of everything that you thought you could have done, die having left your contribution in this world, died having left your footprint on the sands of time. So If you get up every morning and begin to think to yourself, what if this was my last day? How would you live your life? You see, if this was your last day, if this was your last day or my last day, there are many things many people will change. Maybe they will not speak in particular ways. Maybe they will not go particular places. Maybe they will not do certain things because they are conscious of the fact that this was their last day. So how therefore can you make today count? Let me give you a simple story that I actually share in the book. So I was in Cameroon, in Yaoundé, capital city, in 2018, and I was having a small meeting with my staff, the people that were working for my conference that I organized around the world, for my lead missions conference. And as I was talking to my staff, I just gave some instructions and talked about how and the vision and the purpose for why we were there. And I turned to one of the guys who has served me for about 20 years. He's usually my driver when I go home, and he drives me around and takes me around. And I turned to him and I said to him, I said, when I come here next year, I don't want to see you in the same spot. And I forgot about what I even said, and I left. So 1 year afterwards, I was back to my country in 2019. And then he said, please, do you have time? Because I need you to see something. So I said, well, I am busy. I am already, my program is already established. When I come, I just go, meeting, the seminars, the conferences, the meetings, and all of that. And he said, no, there is something I want you to see. And he wouldn't even tell me what it is. Mm. So I made some time because he's somebody that I trust. He's somebody that's worked with me for 20 years. We go back a long way. And so one day he took me out. He was my driver. So he had that, he just drive me out to wherever he wants. So he took me to that place. And he showed me a piece of land, a big piece of land in a wonderful place, wonderful development, where he was building an 18-room complex. And he said, last year when you came here, you said to me, I don't want to see you in this same spot when I come back. And when you said that to me, from that day, I went and I got my license, my business license from the government. I took the car I used to use and started to make business with it. From working with my car, I started to save money, and then I entered into real estate business. And he said, right now, look at what I have done. Now I am constructing, I'm on the second level of an 18-room complex, because in the last 12 months, I have saved more money than I've ever saved in all of my life. And now I know that life has a purpose. Now I believe that my dreams are possible. So when we talk about living in the moment, it's about doing just the little things that I can do. When he told this thing to me, I thought about that day that I told him that. It didn't seem to be particularly forceful. I didn't kind of speak with some kind of supernatural kind of voice. I just said, well, I don't want to see you here. But he heard it and he ran with that word. And like he said, he transformed his life. So that is one of the ways in which we can live today. Let us speak life to others. Let us do what we can do to add value to others, love on people, and show them how they could just be better in our tiny little way that we can. And we will be surprised the outcome of just doing that.
Fantastic. Very nicely said, Doctor. So the interesting thing, like you said here about in terms of taking care of oneself, because there are countless number of opportunities, countless number of possibilities. I remember you having a story here saying about counting the stars and looking for his blessings, right? In terms of,
Yes.
see, that's more like you're giving the hope, the faith. So you have some great things about that, the belief, the faith, and all these things you're connecting. That's kind of very cultural, to have one to follow. I mean, not to give up hope. It's very brilliant, because we all grew up from that background and culture. So something we should not forget how we have come this far. So we have to give it back to the community in a form and
Exactly.
manner which boosts the morale of people to take the next step and not waste time and make a better today for a great tomorrow. Interesting.
Yes.
So I like your examples and the beautiful quotes there.
Thank you.
Yeah. So on tomorrow, I had a question. So you mentioned about tomorrow, the roadmap, and it's like an illusion. Tomorrow is an illusion, but the roadmap is what people look for. Hey, I have a long-term plan. I have a short-term plan. I have a near-term plan. It's all plan, 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 and roadmap. And what are your advice to the youngsters, students particularly, and about like in terms of planning? And of course, this is about tomorrow.
So I say that tomorrow is an illusion because none of us has ever seen tomorrow. Or have you seen it, Sri? Because maybe you can show me, none of us has ever lived in tomorrow. Tomorrow is just imaginary. And then here's the thing though, tomorrow is not granted. Tomorrow is not granted. So all of us only live in today. We have the privilege to only live in today. So tomorrow is an illusion because, tomorrow, 24 hours after this, will be called today. And then there will be another tomorrow. So we keep chasing something that is imaginary. So the only day that you and me really have is today. So, and so if you must plan for anything, plan for today. If you must plan for anything, plan for today and work out your plan today. Somebody once said, there comes a time in a man's life that he stops planning so that he might plan to plan and just do it. And so today is the day you do it. And if you must have a roadmap for today, not just for tomorrow. Because today is pregnant with destiny. Today is full of opportunity. Today, there are people that can benefit from you and me. Today, there are people that can be transformed by what you and me do. They can be transformed by what you say. They can be transformed by our input. They can be transformed by our energy. We have to live it day, putting literally our 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 footprints on the sands of time and knowing that we have to maximize every moment. There is a word to be said. Say it today. A, a thought to be conceived. Conceive it today. Even when you have an idea for tomorrow, and this is what I teach in the book. Even when you have an idea for tomorrow, do you know what you should do? Come back to today and sow a seed. Because what is really tomorrow? Tomorrow is just the harvest of today.
Beautiful.
So there is nothing that you're going to see tomorrow that is strange from what you did today. Every tomorrow is a harvest of today. So whatever you sow today will show up tomorrow as a harvest. So anything you want to see tomorrow, just come and sow it in today. So that's why today is very critical, because I say to people, tomorrow is very predictable. Why is tomorrow predictable? Because it is the harvest of today. Whatever you are not sowing today, you are not going to see it tomorrow. Whatever you are sowing today, you're going to see more of it tomorrow. So if you sow nothing today, you have a lot of nothing tomorrow. Very predictable. If you sow something today, you have a lot of something tomorrow. So even when you are looking forward to tomorrow in anticipation and hope, the only thing that makes tomorrow exciting and hopeful is that we do something today, because we are now waiting for the harvest of what we did today. So
Fantastic.
I tell young people, therefore, sow your seeds today so that tomorrow you can enjoy the fruit trees that grow out of that seed of today.
Excellent. Excellent. In fact, you had beautiful quote references here, which I would like to read here from Marcus Aurelius, right?
Yes.
Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present. Wonderful. You're
Yeah.
putting it in the context of the illusion part and then say, yeah, so better plan. Yeah.
And
Do it.
you see, he says, with the weapons that you are armed with today. So the only way we create a new tomorrow is by the weapons that we use today. In other words, whatever we are doing today is critical in creating the tomorrow that we are hoping for. So anytime you see something in the horizon of tomorrow, come back and plant it today so that you can get it. Even if you are planning to build a company tomorrow, you are planning to start a great organization, a great company. So come today and sow the seed of a business plan. Come today and sow the seed of investigating what is it that you want to do, consulting with people that could help you do that. Sow a seed for anything you see in your future. Backtrack and sow a seed today that will yield a harvest for that tomorrow.
Great. So, dear, wonderful doctor. So, dear fans, listeners, and folks who are following here, and I wanted to give a shout out to HBAP. Hello, HBAP, from Doctor and Sri Srinivasa here, to all the cohorts and folks who have joined to have a great journey at HBAP. Fantastic. The day before tomorrow, how to make today count. Dr. Madison and Ngafeeson. So here is the book that we are doing a review with a forward by Kelly Kimba. So interesting. So before, I mean, while we emphasize on the importance of today, so there is one thing which caught my attention about self leadership. Could you please touch on that, please?
Okay, you see, many times when we talk about leadership, people think about somebody standing up in a platform from a high table and maybe addressing a crowd or addressing a room full of people, sitting at the head of the table in a boardroom somewhere. But the greatest form of leadership, I argue, is self leadership. The greatest form of leadership is me getting up in the morning and saying and assigning Madison to do what Madison should do when he should do it, to create the impact that he should have and to influence me to be all that I can ever be, to influence me to live the fullest of my potential. That is what I believe self leadership is. One of my greatest mentors, Mr. John C. Maxwell, says that leadership is influence. So if leadership is influence, the ability for me to influence me to achieve all of my God given potential in life and to
Mm.
deploy all of what I could possibly live on this earth and to die empty, like my other mentor taught me, to do all of that, to lead yourself so that when you are no longer here, you are not wishing that you did something more. You are not wishing that you could have said something that you did not say, or you could have thought something that you did not think. The way that we do that is by self leadership. Can you lead you? One of the things that I discovered as a leader earlier on in life is that the most difficult person to lead is not the people that are in my department. The most difficult people to lead are not the people that sit around the board table when we hold our board meetings. The most difficult person to lead is me. When you understand that truth and you begin to work on yourself more than you work on other people, that is true deliverance. And so that is why I say that the day before tomorrow, How to Make Today Count, is a book on self leadership. How can you influence you to do to achieve all of your dreams and your aspirations and the things that you hope for?
And mostly, on this note of self leadership, the challenge is the fear of failure.
Mhm.
We all learned this innovation. Let's say you fail fast to learn, to succeed, and do some experiments and learn. In the management school, right? In the disruptive innovation on things we learn. So I liked your quote on one of the chapters. Look backward for education. You quoted Dr. Nelson Mandela. I never lose. I only win or I learn. Beautiful.
Yes, and isn't that very true? Isn't that very true? Because here is the thing, though. We fear that we might fail. But here is the question: who of us has never failed?
Yeah.
So if we have failed anywhere, then why are we afraid to do what we are always going to do? So if so the thing therefore is to ask ourselves, what are we learning? The you know For me, I define failure as someone who is not learning from the past. That's the only way you become a failure. But if you can learn from the past, meaning that you are going to do things differently and you're going to obtain a different result, then you are either winning or you are learning, like Nelson Mandela said. So there's no need to fear failure when you are going to fail anyway. So even whether you fear it or not, you're still going to end up failing. So better fail more intentionally so that you can succeed even better.
Fantastic. And I just wanted to, before I conclude, I wanted to leave two things, which is very interesting. Again, a quote about which emphasizes on today. So we talked about yesterday, we talked about tomorrow being an illusion, and you already, Doctor, you highlighted the power of today. And you had a wonderful quote, which I would like to read for the audience. And thank you for making me aware of this as well. To every man, there comes in his lifetime that special moment when he is figuratively tapped on the shoulder and offered a chance to do a very special thing, unique to him and fitted to his talents. What a tragedy if that moment finds him unprepared or unqualified for that which would be his finest hour.
Mm. So that is a quote from Sir Winston Churchill.
Churchill, Sir Winston Churchill.
So every human being is always given a chance in their lifetime to shine, to prove to the whole world their relevance and why they are here and why they deserve a spot in the 7.2 billion people that are upon the earth. Every one of us is given that chance. But the tragedy is that when that opportunity comes knocking, several people are absent and cannot answer present to that opportunity. So the day before tomorrow teaches us that whatever ability that you have today, develop it. Whatever ingenuity that you have been given, develop it, strengthen it, so that when the opportunity that comes for you to start that company, the opportunity to lead a group of people, the opportunity to inspire others, the opportunity to change your society and your environment comes, you will say present and you would answer yes to it. Because, like Sir Winston Churchill said, what a tragedy if that moment comes and finds you unprepared for what would have been your finest hour. So every one of us will have our finest hour. Every one of us will have that moment, that unique moment that only us can do something. And when that moment comes, may we not be found wanting, but may we embrace the opportunity of that moment and transform our lives and the lives of those that are around us.
Very well said. And I would take that as a key takeaway. And the best day ever. That's one of the great chapters with your quote. So I would like to read your quote to so we can conclude for so people will definitely remember and take your guidance and advice. Your best day ever is a today that is lived through the inspiration of the possibilities of tomorrow and the lessons of yesterday. I would repeat one more time. Your best day ever is a today that is lived through the inspiration of the possibilities of tomorrow and the lessons of yesterday. Madison Ngafeeson, Doctor.
Thank you. So for me, that is how we can use today and yesterday. When you look to tomorrow, I want you to be able to see all of the possibilities, the possibility to change nations, to change your family, to change your community, to change your career, to change the work environment that you find yourself in. Take that inspiration and then look back and see your history, where you come from, and see how your journey of yesterday has led you to where you are. And take your lessons from that yesterday and now the hope and the inspiration for a new tomorrow. and then channel it into the energy to live today more purposefully. Because now you are armed with the lessons of yesterday, you are armed with the hope of tomorrow, the inspiration of tomorrow, then live today to the fullest because you were brought here for such a time as this. So don't miss out on what would have become your very finest moment.
Great. So that's about the day before tomorrow. How to make today count with Dr. Madison N. Ngafeeson. And this is Sri Srinivasa for Itsdiff Academy. So, Doctor, it's a beautiful, it's an eye opener for all of us. Thank you for your time and, of course, taking care of this priceless position. It's We are super glad to have you for Itsdiff Academy. Good luck on your book tour and book signing, and continue to educate us on this journey. Thanks.
So I just want to say thank you to my dear friend Sri. Thank you for being so kind to me and bringing me on your wonderful platform. It's been an honor, to be here and to speak to your audience. And I want to give a shout out to all of our Harvard Business Analytics program guys and ladies. It's an honor to be here. Thank you very much for just letting me come here and being a part of your broadcast.
Thank you. Go Harvard Business Analytics program to all the professors and teaching assistants and friends. And hopefully, when you get to see this, please do like, comment, and subscribe. We have wonderful interviews and discussions planned for this year. Have a great new year ahead. Thank you, Doctor. See you.
Thank you, people. So go get the book. It's found on all the platforms. Amazon, it's found on Barnes& and Noble, Walmart.com, Audible, Nooks, and all of that. So go grab your copy and enjoy. And let me know how you found it to be. Thank you.
Excellent. That's super important to create a support system there. Thank you. All right. Thanks.
Thank you.